Hello and welcome to video number 2. Now, in the first video, I asked you to consider a strategy change, modifying your strategy. I'm not asking you to change today, but you have to understand that the strategy you have only got you to where you are and not where you want or need to be. Now, the first thing about strategy is you have to determine what is winning, where it is you want to go. Now, you have to ask yourself an honest question. Will my strategy get me there? Now, there are 5 competitive forces that every company competes against for profits, and in your case, drivers. Let's talk about these 5 forces. Now, in some industries, rivals are the premier competitor. With some, it's the negotiating power of buyers, in your case, drivers. Some, it's the negotiating power of suppliers, such as Google and Facebook. Some, it's alternatives, another occupation altogether. And last is the threat of new entry, such as a new trucking company getting into your market, further diluting the driver pool. Now, in marketing, I get hit by all 5, and I'm constantly reevaluating my strategy for each one. Remember the formula from the last video. Profits equal price minus cost. Now, as we go through each of these forces, you have to continually ask yourself, first, how do my rivals cost me profits, in your case, drivers? Because they do. They do cost you drivers. But there's a very real way you can beat them. And if you don't have a strategy for each, it answers the question why you will not reach your recruiting goals. So up until this point, you've been waking up every morning trying to fill your trucks, your company's profits. And did you honestly know who you were competing against? Now, if you can answer that question, then you can ask yourself the next question. Does my strategy beat this force? Now, you have to do this for each of the forces. The truth is, all the wonderful technology in the world has to work in concert with these time-tested principles because people do not change. Any technology, including ours, has to compete with the 5 forces. Every industry is different. Now, some industries, like automotive, they compete against other dealerships. There really isn't a lot of alternatives. The vast majority of their profits they lose are to other dealerships, their rivals. So as we go through this, remember the formula. Profits are equal to price minus cost. How do rivals affect your profits? So if you have a tense rivalry, you pass off the profits in the form of higher wages or larger sign-on bonuses. Higher wages equal lower profits. So does your strategy effectively beat your rivals? Let me tell you how we do it. First and foremost, we can track a prospect on a daily basis and in real time, and we can identify these prospects by name. The people actively pursuing a product which we sell. So we can find them first before a rival does. Like I said in the last video, if you were first, you have frame control. Frame their perspective. You set what the value is. Everything that comes after you is now compared to you. Now in the next video, I'll tell you the 2 things that at the precise moment a prospect is ready to say yes, that you as the recruiter can be the one that receives that yes. You will have those 2 things and I'll explain them in the next video. When you're first, you have the ability to control perspective. Now secondly, we provide the data in the form of ownership. Now if you own the data, you can start having conversations with prospects. I never recommend ad campaigns. People do not buy from ads, they buy from people. You have to think in terms of a relationship, and you have to build that relationship before they're buying what you're trying to sell them. Now, if you only control the data, you can target that prospect and have conversations with them on multiple platforms about multiple topics, and as often as you want, for as long as you want and need. You develop a relationship. You do this the same way you would do face-to-face, but now you can do this digitally because you own the data. We are the first person to start that conversation with the prospect. You can help them by building trust because trust is at the heart of every relationship. If you're first, you don't have to immediately start selling your company, but what you can do is help them with their problem. Once they're familiar with their problem, then they will know what solution to choose. Now, if you're the one educating them on their problem, that you're the expert in because you have the solution, then you will have their trust. Marketing is not programs, it's relationship. Marketing is a dialogue, not a monologue. Even though you're advertising to them, you're having a conversation with them via your collateral, your landing pages, your websites. This is a mental conversation that's going on. Right now, you're having a mental conversation with me. What is happening right now is a dialogue, not a monologue. Your goal in marketing is not to make a claim about your company, but it's to help your prospect foster a conclusion, helping them see what they don't see, to understand what they don't understand. so that they can make a smart decision, and in your case, buying the job you're trying to sell them. If you're the person helping them, educating them, they're going to choose you. There's one other thing besides having a relationship when that prospect is ready to say yes, and we'll get into that on the next video. But remember, in order to beat rivals, it's simple. You have to be first. You have to develop a relationship. You have to build trust by helping them first, because prospects do not care about you. They care about one of two things. A, they have a problem they no longer want, or B, there's a solution they're seeking but have not found. At this very moment, I'm building trust with you. We are slowly building a relationship. I'm not asking you to buy anything from me. I'm helping you identify and fix your problem. This is how you beat rivals. Powerful suppliers. You are competing against suppliers. Now let's take Google and Facebook. If they charge you higher prices or insist on better, more favorable terms, they are lowering your profits. Now back to the formula. Profits equal price minus cost. If they raise prices, profits go down. Do you have a strategy that beat a powerful supplier? Now before I tell you how we do it, I want you to know I am not anti-Google or Facebook. What I am is platform agnostic. We very much use Google and Facebook, and so should you. But what you need is a strategy that offsets their power. Now, a strategy that enables you to get what you want without them controlling your profits. So when we have the targeting and we own it and control it, then it's portable. So for example, we'll upload our targeting to Google, and when we do, we get phenomenal results because Google and Facebook work on what's called a relevancy engine. They don't work on high bid. What they want to do is show a relevant ad to a prospect. They don't care about you as the advertiser. This is because the prospect will come back multiple times if the ad shown to them is relevant. This means the prospect comes back and does keyword searches. They come back to Facebook and spend time, which means more opportunity for Facebook and Google to show more ads. If they are showing more ads to a prospect and you're not getting a high click-through rate on Google or Facebook, they'll think your ad is irrelevant. Therefore, they're going to charge you more per click. Now, if you upload targeting that is highly relevant, because we're only targeting the needles and not the haystack, people that are actively pursuing a job that you have available, then you're going to get a higher click-through rate. Since Google and Facebook work on that relevancy engine, they're going to give you a lower cost. Now, if you're first, you're building value, so you'll have a better chance of getting better prices. Now, if you're not at the mercy of a supplier, then you'll be able to get a lower cost per quality lead. This is just one of the ways we can help you beat a powerful supplier. That's just one. The next one is powerful buyers. Now, powerful buyers are demanding more value from you, which forces you to raise wages, larger sign-on bonuses, more incentives. Therefore, it brings down your profits. It's very simple. If you have a limited pool of drivers, it forces you to give higher compensation. Therefore, salaries, bonuses, incentives go up while profits come down. This is exactly why you are not winning. So, how do you offset these buyers? Well, here's the first thing. Now, if we control who's in market, knowing who's in market, then we don't have limited prospects to talk to. So our pipeline is always full. If we only have a handful of prospects, we're allowing them to dictate terms, salaries, bonuses. If we have a small amount of leads, we're going to kiss up to them in fear of losing them. If a prospect knows this, then they become powerful buyers. We take their negotiating power away when they are not a few, but one of hundreds of choices for you. Now, secondly, and just as important as the first, we're able to start that conversation first. At the beginning, when they are searching their problem, we are building a relationship, having a digital conversation with them. This is very important now. We are building up trust, because at each step of their job searching process, you are walking them through their problem, gaining their trust. Therefore, you're fostering a conclusion in their mind that you can get them to their destination. Now, this is something you can implement in your collateral today, in your landing pages, and all your marketing. Prospects don't care about you. They care about their problem. They care about the result they do not have. They want to make the best decision possible to better their situation. This is why they research before they join. These are not easy decisions. They are complex. They have consequences. They have ramifications. So the hiring cycle takes time. So in that window, there's the beginning, the middle, and the end. You have to meet them where they are in that cycle. This is in the research stage of that problem. It's so important to know where they are because it dictates how you will communicate with them. I didn't meet my wife and immediately ask her to marry me. I had to develop a relationship. I had to develop trust. Show her my values. Show her the qualities that she needed me to meet before marrying me. Now for you as the business, it's not much different. These prospects want to make a smart decision. They research. They take their time to make that smart decision. Just the way you're spending time with me right now listening to these videos, you want to make a smart buying decision. You want to get a result you do not have. This is why you're listening to me right now. Threat of entry. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of new companies getting into the transportation business or other companies looking to expand into your lanes. New companies mean new rivals, new alternatives. These are all digging into your profits. Services competing against yours. Substitutes. These are the same thing. I could tell you in the marketing industry, there are a ton of substitutes. Tons. You don't have to hire me. There are all sorts of substitutes you can potentially do. Now, obviously, I think there's an advantage to using us over all these other things, but it goes back to what I'm saying. If we're not communicating the value of what we offer, then how can you measure us against an alternative? I'm sure there are companies providing the same basic products and services that you provide, and what those companies are doing is robbing you of your profits. Now, when you're communicating with prospects, you have to be able to help them, to demonstrate how your value stacks up against the rest. One of the biggest problems we see from companies is that they don't know how to identify their value. They don't know how to express an effective value proposition. The value proposition you offer answers the question, if I'm your ideal prospect, why should I come drive for you? The center of appeal is want. So, tell me, why should someone come work for you? And it has to be something that they want. Now, if we know they're looking to solve a problem or get a result they currently don't have, and you say something like, we care about our drivers. Yeah, it's appealing, but it's not what they want. Like, if my house was on fire and you're the first one to get there, I'd appreciate it, but if you can't put out the fire, what good are you to me? So just because you're the first doesn't make someone choose you. It's valuable, but it certainly doesn't deliver the solution to their problem or produce the result they don't have. So when we get on the phone, I'm going to ask you what your value is, help you identify that value, and the level of exclusivity that you carry. The greater the appeal and the greater the exclusivity, meaning they can only get it from you, that's a powerful only factor. You use these only factors to answer the question, if I'm your ideal prospect, why should I come drive for you? Now, I'm more than happy to identify the only factor that you have and help you express it, because there's very simple things you can do, and I'll give you two right now. If you and a competitor match on every dimension of value except one, on that one, you need to excel. Marketing starts before a product was even built, because you built that product specifically to solve someone's problem. When you look at things you offer, you have to ask yourself, is it important? Is it relevant? Is it urgent? From explanation comes clarity. If you have authentic value, then clarity trumps persuasion. You don't have to persuade people, you just have to educate them. Communicate with the people. Help them see and understand it before they can even consider it. I ask companies, recruiters, and owners all the time, shop their own company. Call up and ask, if I'm your best candidate, why should I consider coming to drive for you rather than a competitor? Ask people in your company the same thing. Look at your website, look at your collateral. It's different every single time. Every prospect has a motivation, and it's the single greatest factor in someone saying yes. Motivation is the outcome, the solution to the problem, the solution that delivers the result they do not have. You're on these videos because you want to be more profitable. Now that you've seen two videos, now you know that being more profitable is not your problem. It's how do I beat the 5 forces in order to become more profitable? The answer is you need a better strategy, a strategy that directly attacks the 5 forces. In the next video, I'm going to tell you where all sales and hiring starts. It's It's 2018. The hiring process starts long before they pick up the phone and call you. The hiring starts way before, and you need to meet them there. I'm going to show you where there is. Email me when you're ready for video number 3. Thank you.